Hello and welcome to a loadout kind of showcase that I want to be showing you guys. This is kind of a cheap and smart looking loadout that I have made actually. I've just made this because I thought now that I've got a knife, I kind of want to make this loadout like look more professional. So this is kind of a smart loadout. This is just my opinion, by the way. All the ratings on these skins, just my opinion. The prices should be accurate as of the day is the 21st of February, so obviously prices go down slowly or they go up depending on like the rarity of the skins. But anyway, let's get into the showcase, and I'm going to keep this kind of quick and simple. I'm just going to point out the total price of this inventory is £33, about 70p. That's a rough estimate. That's excluding the knife, obviously. With the knife it comes to pretty much exactly 100 quid, which is really cool. But anyway, let's get into this thing and let's show off the first skin. Okay, so the first skin is the Glock, and that is the StatTrak Bunsen Burner Battle Scarred. The cool thing about this skin is as it gets battle scarred, the color of the Glock actually goes more green. You'll notice that the body of the Glock itself is more green when it's battle scarred than when it is factory new. So that's why I chose the battle scarred, and actually is cheaper when it's battle scarred, which just helps everything. The current price of this thing is about 50p, so you can pick this up for a nice cheap price, and it looks really awesome. For the P250, I chose nothing other than the StatTrak Wingshot Battle Scarred. This is another skin where brightness is affecting the wear, and it is £1.16 for this really awesome skin. Now it's quite a hefty price, but that is only because it's StatTrak and it's a purple, so obviously as the rarity of the gun goes up the price will too, but it's a pretty nice grab and it looks so sexy in game. I definitely advise getting one of these. The USP, I chose nothing other than the overused torque, and it comes in StatTrak field tested. That is the one that is showing off. Now the problem with field tested is you can see quite a bit of wear on the gun. However, I don't mind, you don't really notice it too much, and the problem with going to minimal wear is it raises the price a bit more. I think you can get the field tested StatTrak for about 80p-ish, but this is still a really nice grab of a skin, and it is quite a clean and nice modern looking USPS skin. The Tech 9 Isaac is pretty much just the Asimov for a Tech 9. That's why I chose it, because I like kind of Asimov sci-fi kind of guns. And this thing is perfect. You can get a StatTrak field tested version for just under a pound at about 88p. Okay, for the jewelries, I chose the Dueling Dragon StatTrak Minwear. You can pick these up for about 50p, and they look so good because the wear doesn't affect them. It's another brightness skin. That's why quite a lot of skins in this loadout are brightness, because then you don't have to worry about what wear you get. For the Deagle, I chose the sleek, nice black Deagle, which is the Conspiracy. This thing is factory new and you can get it for about £1.60. For the 5.7 skin, I have chosen the Copper Galaxy. Why? Because the Copper Galaxy is one of those skins where the bottom half of it is just the vanilla kind of 5.7, but the top half is so cool because when you get it in the sunlight it looks so awesome. I don't know, this is one of those skins where a lot of people hate it and some people like it. I am one of the people that like this skin, but if you don't like this, I would recommend the Monkey Business because it is a really cheap pink skin, and it comes for the same price of about a pound, and it looks just as good if you get it in the right condition. Okay, so the Nova Candy Apple factory new non-StatTrak or souvenir, I guess, is just 8p. Simple as that, 8p, and it's a really simple, but it's a nice Nova skin. There aren't really many cheap Nova skins that look very good, so I chose this one and I put a little bomber sticker on at the end just to make it a little bit different. For the XM, I chose the StatTrak Scumbria Battle Scarred. The reasoning is because I actually unboxed this one, but for 15p you can pick this up and it looks factory new because it's a brightness skin. For the Mag 7, I chose the Heat Field Tested. This thing, in my opinion, looks pretty factory new. I mean, I don't know what the factory one looks like, but this one looks really good condition. It might be a brightness skin, I'm not too sure on that, but to get this it's pretty much just 20p and it's yours, and it's a really nice looking Mag 7 skin. And for the Sawn-Off, I was looking for quite a while to try and find a nice unique skin that not too many people use, and I picked up the Highwayman Battle Scarred for 30p, and I'm not sure how wear affects this, but this is battle scarred here and it looks clean to me, so I guess this might be a brightness skin, but I don't know, it's just different and it looks pretty nice, and you can pick one of these up for about 30p, which is great. Okay, for the Negev, I chose the Terrain StatTrak Minwear. This is a really cheap skin, clocking in at about 20p, and it just, I like the blue on it. It's kind of a greeny blue, it's kind of a weird pattern. I like that. A lot of people hate that, and that's why they don't like the terrain skins, but if you get a nice good quality one like Minware or Factory New, it looks really good and I don't mind it. So this is the negative I'm going to be choosing. I couldn't really find many other good ones. The M249 skin, I chose the Nebula Crusader. The one here is field tested, and this is another brightness skin. I'm pretty sure it might be a wear skin, but I'm pretty sure it's a brightness like a lot of them in the Shadow Collection. But this one here is about 35p, and I really like this skin because it's got lots of stuff going on, and there's loads of like references to old like kind of arcade games, and I like that a lot. So that's why I've chosen this one. But then again, you shouldn't be using the M249 anyway. Stop using the M249. Please, Valve, remove it from the game. Okay, so I actually spent quite a lot of money on my MP9 skin. This is a souvenir MP9 Setting Sun minimal wear. Now this comes in at about £4. You can actually pick them up for £3.50 if you get the timing right, but pretty much they're on average about £4. And the reason I like this skin so much is it's got loads of those little nuclear reactor things on it, the little hazard thing symbols, and it's such a cool skin. And if you get the good souvenir one, I got an Envying Kinguin and a Nip all in one. I don't even know how, but that's like what I've got, and it looks really cool, and the stickers and gold and it being cool, and it's souvenir, and it's cool. However, for the MP7, we've just gone cheap again. This is the StatTrak MP7 Urban Hazard field tested. Now this thing comes in at about 15p if you get it at the right time. If not, you have to pay a horrendous extra price of 16p. For the UMP, I chose the UMP Gunsmoke Minware. I actually got this in a drop, and I mean, I have never used a Gunsmoke skin before, but because it was Minware and it had a good kind of condition on it, I looked at it and I actually really like this skin. So that's why I've chosen the UMP 45 Gunsmoke. And for the Mach 10, I chose the Malachite skin because it's a really cheap skin. It looks alright, and I don't use the Mach 10, so I don't know. It's a kind of cool skin. I like it, and if you want to use the Mach 10, I suggest going for maybe a more higher tier skin. But I personally don't use it that much, that's why I didn't really cash out on this skin too much. But I'm pretty sure you can get Malachite's Minware Factory New for about 10 to 15p, so it's a really nice cheap skin. For the Bison, I chose the Osiris skin minimal wear because it's 20p, and it's another one of those M4 Cyrex or Orb Asimov kind of textured skins. It looks really nice, and I like that kind of pattern. The P90 had to be kind of quite an expensive skin, just for pissing off people who say P90 noob and just rushing them and rushing corners. We have to do it in style, and that is with the Trigon minimal wear. This is the highest tier you can get for the Trigon, so I mean, if there was a factory new, we would get that too, but it would probably cost more. But this comes in at about £2.50, and it looks so good. For the AK-47, I wanted to choose a nice vibrant kind of pattern on the AK, and the cheapest kind of vibrant skin I could find was the AK Point Disarray, and I wanted to get this in field tested, and this comes in at about £7. It's the most expensive thing in the loadout, which means that the loadout is relatively cheap. But this thing is really cool, and as I added the Hamster Hawk sticker on the end of it, it looks MLG, and this thing is really a nice skin. I love it. I mean, some people disagree, some people prefer the Misty, but I actually prefer this just because the red, blue and black and white all work together so well. It's such a beautiful AK skin. And for the Galil, I chose the Stone Cold StatTrak field tested. Now this is another brightness skin, so field tested, factory new, battle scarred, they all pretty much look the same. I don't know why they do brightness skins. I mean, I'm not complaining. In fact, brightness skins are probably the best thing they've ever done, because that means you don't have to pay ridiculous amounts for factory new. But this thing comes in at basically exactly £1, and it's beautiful. It's a really nice Galil skin, and I like the color blue. That's why I chose it. Okay, for the Terrorist Side Auto, I chose the Executioner Field Tested. Now this thing comes in at about 90p or less. It's crazy. It's a pink, and it's from the Revolver case, and that's because pretty much all the skins in a Revolver case are super cheap, because no one likes the Revolver. But this thing is awesome, and on the back of it, it says NACL got some here, which means like people get salty when you use it, which is a cool reference, and that's why I like this skin a lot. For the Counter-Terrorist Side Auto, I chose the Scar 20 Grotto StatTrak minimal wear. Now this thing is basically the most overused CT auto kind of skin, the Grotto, but to get a StatTrak min wear, you literally just need to pay 20p, and that's it, and it looks pretty much like a really nice skin. I like the blue on it, the blue and kind of purple colors. It looks really nice, and for 20p it costs basically nothing. Okay, for the M4, I am using the M4A1S currently. I don't really like using the M4A4 because the spray is too wild, and the S is just nicer and it sounds better. But anyway, the atomic alloy mineral wear comes in at about £3, and this thing looks really nice. Now the one I'm using is a slight bit beaten up, sure, but the atomic alloy is a really nice skin in my opinion, and plus it came with this free awesome random kawaii killer sticker, so that makes the value roughly about £3,000,000,000. Okay, the famous skin is gonna be the famous Survivor Z StatTrak Factory New. Now these things come at basically exactly £1, and they're really nice skins. I like the kind of zombie textures on them, and it goes well with the G3 Executioner. Hopefully at some point we'll be able to get an entire loadout where it looks like you've just come out of a Black Ops 3 Zombies match. Okay, for the SG I chose the StatTrak SG Pulse Field Tested. Now this thing is about 80p, and it looks as good as you're gonna hope for it. I mean, this one is a slight bit beaten up, but obviously I don't mind that much because I don't use the SG that often. I mean, I prefer the AK, and it's pretty much the same price. For the AUG, I'm currently using a Radiation Hazard Minimal Wear. Now this is obviously really beaten up, but then again, I'm never going to use the AUG because the AUG is a terrible gun. Volvo, what are you doing? Come on, we don't want this thing, it's terrible. I mean, if you use the AUG, no offense, but it's terrible. Buy an M4. Learn how to use an M4 or an AWP. If you want a scope, go back to playing Call of Duty. Okay, for the Scout, I'm going to be using the Big Iron Field Tested. Now this thing looks pretty beaten up, but at the same time, it looks pretty nice. It looks pretty sleek, and it's quite a nice looking skin. And it's a pink, which makes it look even better. So there's that, and this thing comes at about £1.60, and it's really nice skin in my opinion. Some people really hate it, but I don't. I really like it. And the final rifle is the AWP, and that is the Worm God Factory New. Now you can get the Factory New Worm God for about £1. I'm actually going to be transferring my StatTrak Minware one that I unboxed in my Chroma 2 unboxing. I'm going to be moving that from my other account onto this one so I can have a StatTrak Minware. And if you're wondering, the StatTrak Minware one is about £3.50, so there's quite a large difference. It depends if you really want StatTrak on the AWP. If you use the AWP a lot, then I guess then you might want it, but if you don't, then you don't need it, and you can get a much cheaper, much better looking Worm God. I mean, personally, the Worm God is quite a bad skin, but it's the only really cheap, good AWP skin you can get unless you want to fork out quite some more dollar. As you may or may not know, my knife currently is the Huntsman Crimson Web Field Tested. I won this in a Kingwin giveaway. If you click anywhere on the screen in the next 3 seconds, I will take you to that video. But that is how I got this knife, and that is why I decided to make a loadout, just to suit the knife. The knife is everything. Give this thing everything. Give Valve your money. Okay, for the Zeus skin, I chose none other than the Zeus Vanilla. This thing clocks in at about infinite money, and there's only 0 in the world, and I own all 10 of them. So, I don't know, this thing can shoot Zeus any range, and it can insta-kill the entire team just by clicking it. It's a kind of nice skin. I don't know, it looks a bit bland, but then again, you know, there is only like 2,000 or 3,000 Zeus skins in the world. They're all vanilla. Beautiful. This is totally not a troll. Zeus skins do exist. Please, Volvo. But anyway, that is just my loadout that I will be using. I mean, obviously you'll disagree with some of the things I've said. You may agree with some others, but it's just personal opinion, and I think some of the skins in here you can get for really cheap, so definitely check out the marketplace and see what you might be able to pick up with some leftover Steam Wallet money. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll hopefully see you in another video.
Okay, bye.